Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the voice of Georgetown football, Jeremy Huber, joined by the head coach of the Hoyas, Rob Sgarlata. Coach, thanks again for joining us.
Jeremy, great to see you.
Coach, coming off a loss against Fordham, where the Rams, as they seem to do against everybody, put up a lot of points. Your guys jump out to a big, quick lead on them and actually played very, very well. Give us some of your thoughts on what was a pretty good performance up in the Bronx.
Yeah, you're always looking for the win. Very impressed with the way our kids played. Played extremely hard, executed the game plan well early. We really wanted to try to keep their offense off the field and take our time with our offense, be super efficient. And we did that with our first drive. We're able to turn them over and get into a 21-7 lead. At the end of the second quarter there, we needed to get a stop and get into halftime, with a tie ball game or a 7-point score. So we had a turnover late, being aggressive and trying to drive the ball down with about 55 seconds left in the half, which is what we wanted to do. And weren't able to convert on that drive. And unfortunately, Fordham did turn around and get a score there. But overall within the game, really impressed with the way the kids played all four quarters. A lot of guys got a ton of experience, and it's a good football team. But our expectation was to go up there and get a win in the Bronx.
Rob, what's kind of keyed your offense lately? Obviously, Pierce Holly under center, as well as Josh Tomas out on the outside. And you look at the numbers, second straight 300-yard passing game and 4 touchdowns for Holly last week. Tomas, his third 100-yard game receiving of the season. Talk about how those two are playing and really kind of driving that offense right now.
Yeah, they're both playing extremely well. As I've stated before, Josh is one of the most competitive kids that I've had a chance to coach. And, Pierce had a great game on Saturday. Very, very efficient and, didn't miss many balls and really placed a couple great ones to JT. So, as you look through our skill guys, you'll talk about Cam Creighton and both Moultrie is playing well for us. You asked me how that was started or how that's being keyed. And I would say it all starts up front. Mac Hohensteiner, if you want to watch a game with a really physical, aggressive offensive tackle, go watch Mac against Fordham this past weekend. He's doing a great job of leading that group with Neil Azar. And, they played extremely well, allowed us to run the ball in some critical situations and kept Pierce clean for most of the game. I think we surrendered 1 sack in the game, and they did a great job of providing time for him to hit some people downfield.
Defensively, again, a tall task. Tim DeMorat, who'd be playing on Sundays at some point, he's that good for Fordham. But your defense made some plays, didn't make enough. But a guy who made a lot of them, Ivory Harrell, your sensational sophomore. Talk about his performance and what he's done all year.
Yeah, Ivory is as physically talented as you're going to get, with any defensive end at this level. And he came back in this week, started the game off with a sack and played extremely well versus the run and the pass. So, our job as coaches is trying to keep getting him in positions to make plays. Very competitive player. I think I was telling you before, got after me in 2-minute drill today because he thought he had a sack, and, there's no contact on those guys. Shout out to Alec May on the Halo rule for 2-minute drill, but very, very competitive. This was a really great week for that. And I think anytime that you can have a Mac Hohensteiner on one side or a Talati Palomalu going against Ivory Harrell every day, it's just making those guys better. So, hopefully he'll continue, to have a great season this weekend here at homecoming against Penn.
Coach, one more from the Fordham game. The defense, at least numbers wise, has struggled as of late. What are some things that group needs to do to maybe put a little better performance on the field?
Yes, it's stuff that we talk about. I think the effort was there over the weekend. We didn't have a lot of loafs in the game. For me, it's a lot about how we're fitting the run right now. So we took a lot of time to go through that this week. And, we talk about tackling, and eliminating big plays, eliminate the explosives. So, really took a hard look at what we're doing against the run, and just keep putting our kids in great position to make some plays against some deep balls overall. So, if we come out Sunday night and say that we did a great job tackling and eliminating the run and explosives, we'll be pretty happy on Sunday.
Rob, you have the bye next week. So this is your last game before that. And there's a kind of a natural separation there. I know you're fully focused on Penn, but I think there's got to be the evaluation. You're seeing guys after having 5, 6 games under their belt that they're starting to get themselves into the mix. Are there a couple guys that maybe Hoya fans are going to see down the stretch, maybe get some more playing time and contribute to this squad?
I think defensively, you can't talk about how the season's going and people developing them without talking about the freshman class. Wedner Cadet has played extremely well at corner. Jaden Brown is, starting and had a great game for his development against Fordham, at linebacker first on the defensive end. Offensively, I think as you see, more and more with Pierce throwing the ball well, the O-line doing a good job protecting him. I think Brock Vistick will continue to get some time. Jimmy Kibble is another receiver, Keenan Richardson, Cook, all three young receivers, one sophomore, two freshmen, who I think will continue to come on and just bolster what we have with, a really great set of skill kids on the offensive side, as we get going through Penn into the bye week.
Flipping over to this week's game, you mentioned the Penn Quakers, a good team, undefeated on the year with a very good defense. What do you know about that Quakers team?
I think exactly what you said. Their offense started to come on, especially in the overtime versus Dartmouth. Trey Flowers, their running back, and did a great job in the overtime to get that win up there at Dartmouth. So, overall, it's going to be one of the better defenses that you're going to see. They tackle extremely well, well coached, and it's going to be a great challenge for us, especially up front.
Coach, unlike maybe the Fordham that you played, Monmouth as well, those kind of almost the greatest show on turf type of teams, this is a defense that's kind of that hard hat defense and looks like almost the anaconda. They're trying to strangle you, maybe play that closer to the vest game with that defense and making plays. What type of game does that kind of present for you guys? And this is a game that you guys have some offensive explosion that really might benefit you a little bit.
Can't believe you went back to St. Louis Rams reference on getting set. I don't know how many people are going to get that one. I think, for us, the formula is always the same. We want to create as many explosives and missed tackles as possible while we eliminate them on defense. And the biggest thing in this game, in my opinion, is going to be taking care of the football. We talk all about the ball on offense and worked on it every day this week. And we need to continue to create turnovers, with our defense. So, I think whoever wins the turnover battle, and we haven't really talked about it very much, but I think the special teams part of this game is going to be huge because of the strength of just overall Penn's defense and what they do offensively. They're very efficient. They haven't made very many mistakes. They've done a good job of giving you different sets and different surfaces to run the football. So I think it's going to be a game where hopefully we can get our receivers out and get our running backs, get Josh Stakely and Herm Moultrie some touches, create some explosives on our own end to kind of counterbalance, Penn's strength, which is going to be their defense, especially their defensive front.
Of course, the head coaching matchup, you and Coach Priori, of course, very good coach for the Quakers, but it'd be remiss if we didn't mention Bob Benson, of course, the former Georgetown coach, the D coordinator. What's that like for you going up against your former coach with the Hoyas?
I'm sorry, who were you talking about again? Oh, Coach B, Coach Benson. Our program is where it is in the Patriot League with Cooper Field and what we have going at this level as a direct result of Coach Benson's work. I was a captain for him back in 1993, and he did a great job building this program through the 90s and basically getting us our invitation to the Patriot League. So, still extremely close with them on and off the field, very happy when they win with the exception of this weekend. So it'll be good to see him back on the hilltop. I know a lot of our alums are coming back for homecoming that played for him, have a ton of respect for him. And, it'll be a great matchup.
Rob, so many things going on this weekend. You mentioned homecoming. We'll get into that in a second, but some very important things this week. College football's mental health week centered around Hilinski's Hope. Of course, the foundation honor of former Washington State quarterback Kyler Hilinski, who took his own life in 2018, kind of raising awareness about mental health issues. What are you in the program doing to take part in this?
We last year we had the Hilinskis here on campus, and One of the things I think everybody has to understand is our athletic director, Lee Reed, has done a great job of providing wraparound support for the 750 plus student athletes here. One of those things is, the establishment of our mental health department within athletics, that's headed up by Dr. Erica Force. Through a great gift from the Amato family, we were able to endow her position as well as add one other full-time and two other postdoc positions. So a long way of saying that, the mental health challenges that our student athletes are going through, we're trying to provide that support in light of, the message from Hilinski's Hope, which is it's what you should be doing is asking for help and making sure that we're taking care of you both on and off the field. So within the game, we'll have green stickers on our helmets as well as the ribbons that the coaches will wear. We've talked extensively with the team this week about the messaging, and that it's an important thing to make sure that we keep working to get rid of the stigma that surrounds mental health, especially with athletes who are not want to come out and ask for help, especially, around those issues. So I think the more we put it out in front of our kids, the better our kids get on and the better performance we get on and off the field.
Coach, and this one, as you being a Georgetown alum, I ask you this question: is your antenna up a little bit when it comes to your football players? Because Georgetown, you've got so many brilliant kids who are such high achievers, and they're doing so much that is there a time you're kind of looking out to say, "Hey, man, are you okay?" Just because of the fact that some of these kids, their natural inclination is to push, push, push.
Yeah, I think student athletes in general, and then if you get to these extremely competitive academic institutions like a Penn, like a Georgetown, and in spite of the tragic, suicides that we've seen across the country in the last couple of years, keyed off one by the pressures of being a student athlete, and two, just some of the additional pressures from the pandemic. Um, I love the fact that we're putting more things in place and more tools in place for the kids along their journey. We talk about the 4 for 40 deal. It's all the things that they're learning and the support that they have from the Georgetown community and just our community overall. I think it's really important to just keep reiterating the message. It's okay to ask for help, and that everybody's going through it, and that I think is a big piece of continuing, especially in a sport like football, to keep breaking down the stigma attached with asking for help in that piece of it. We're trying to get it to be as common as asking for help for a sprained ankle for when you're struggling with something. So it's a tough task. I really commend our department for trying to take the lead on it and keep talking about it and put it out in front of the kids. And I just think it's a great piece of the wraparound support that we're trying to provide here at Georgetown for our student athletes.
Rob, also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, honoring that in this week's game as well. And I know there's some connections with the team where this is very important to a lot of players on this team.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you get a group of 100 people, unfortunately, somebody's going to be affected, by breast cancer and cancer in general. So, I think that this game and being able to wear pink and have the giveaways at the game just raises awareness, also recognizes all the strength and support and work that goes behind, our kids that are here, from their families at home, and just putting that at the forefront as well, I think is important to recognize all the work and support that our kids are getting and that, that their families need throughout the year. So, great to have both things being recognized at a game, at a homecoming game against an Ivy opponent. I think it's exactly the showcase that we should have. And I'm looking forward to both things this weekend.
We'll end on a high note. It's homecoming weekend against Penn. And I know from talking to you, you as the coach kind of have to focus on the field and making sure everybody knows you got to go play the game. So I figured maybe a fun way to approach this was, what are some of your best homecoming memories?
Homecoming for me is, we'll have a big team dinner, team lunch tomorrow on campus. We invite a bunch of our faculty and supporters to come sit with our players. We have tables at 10 and we leave a couple seats open for some professors, but we also have a ton of alums that are coming back. A couple of them will speak with the players after practice, and then just having a chance to have lunch and talk common experience and get some feedback from some of our alums for the kids. I think that's the biggest thing. We always say that people make our place. It's not about homecoming and having a banner and who the opponent is in the game. It's really being able to make the connections within our network for our players and our alums as well, so they can really get to know the kids that are playing on the field and really just feel like they're a part of the Hoya football family alum this weekend.
Well, hopefully you can get a win for those guys this weekend. 2:00 starts against the Penn Quakers. You can see it on the Hilltop, or you can go ahead and check it out on the Patriot League on ESPN. Rob, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate it.
That's Rob Sgarlata. I'm Jeremy Huber. Thanks again to our producer, Dylan Smith. That's all for this edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. Again, I'm Jeremy Huber and Hoya Saxa.